friends. Welcome back to The One Behind the Lens. Today's episode is another solo one, and we're talking about something that comes up every single year, especially as we head into a new season: upgrading your gear, your systems, your workflows, and more importantly, figuring out what actually matters versus what actually just feels exciting. I've been in this season because I always kind of do this at the beginning of every year. You kind of just evaluate, and I'm sure you guys are doing the same thing. I feel like February is our time to just kind of look back, reflect, and breathe a little bit. So let's start here. When people start to talk about upgrading for the new year, their brains usually go straight to gear. I get it. New cameras, new lenses, new toys. And listen, it is so fun. But if there's one thing I've learned after years in this business, it's that your systems will save you long before your gear does. So, before we even touch cameras and lenses, I want to talk about the backbone of my business, the tools that quietly keep everything running. For bookkeeping, scheduling, contracts, questionnaires, I use Visco, and it used to be called Tave or Tave. I feel like there's a lot of ways to say it, and I really have no idea which one was the correct one, but they just merged just at the end of 2025 with Visco. And this is where my inquiries live. It's my calendar, it's where my contracts are, and where my client communication is. And it just lives in that one spot, everything in one place. And what I love about having a system like this is that it removes guesswork for me and for my clients. Clear expectations builds trust, and trust builds repeat clients. Now, for my website, I use PhotoBiz. I don't want to be tinkering endlessly with my site. Who has time for that? I want something that works, looks professional, and does its job. Your website doesn't need to be fancy, it needs to be clear. You want to have your clear pricing if that's what you want to have, or like maybe it's not full pricing, but maybe a start at pricing, or maybe you even say, email me for pricing. But you want to make sure you have that clear messaging and the clear next steps. And obviously, when we are shopping anymore for anything these days, we basically start online. So that website is your first introduction to your potential clients. So definitely hone in on this. Now, I get working with social media, that obviously is another place people might see you, but they're going to really dive deep into your website. So make sure that everything is updated and you just have a clear message and a clear way for people to connect with you and contact you. Prior to PhotoBiz having galleries, I started using Pixieset. And so I still use Pixieset for this reason because I've just been using it. And I sometimes do use PhotoBiz for certain things, like maybe events, but mainly I use Pixieset. This is where clients receive their images. They can download their files if that's what if they're getting that. They can also order products if they want to. So I love that it can be a store and a gallery. I also love Pixieset because it's clean, it's intuitive, and most importantly, it doesn't create extra work for me. Now, going into finances and bookkeeping, we all love this. I use Zero. It's spelled Xero. This is one of those tools that isn't glamorous, but it's absolutely essential. Knowing your numbers gives you confidence, it helps you make decisions, it keeps tax season from feeling like a panic attack. Now, all of those things you do not have to use. Like, if you want to write those down and look into it, you definitely can, of course. But I would just say you would need those are three tools that you should be working with: a website, some sort of like bookkeeping with your contracts and all of that, and then obviously your finance bookkeeping. Another little thing with Tave/Visco, you can do some of your bookkeeping within that as well. I haven't dived deep into that either. It's something that wasn't available when I first started it. That's why then I started using Zero, but it does have the potential to send out your invoices and things like that too. So again, I'm not using it to my full potential, and maybe someday I will, like, intergrade with a little bit more with what I already am using. But for right now, those are the tools that I am using starting 2026. Now, quick transparency moment. I do have affiliate links and discount codes for some of these tools. I only share things I generally use, and I would recommend even if I didn't get a kickback. So if you can save little money while setting your business up better, I am all for that. And I will throw those in the show notes in case you would like to utilize those. We've kind of talked about the behind the scenes work. Let's talk a little bit about gear, and let's stay grounded. This is not about having the newest or the best. This is about having reliable base setup. So, first and foremost, obviously, camera, right? I recommend for you to have two camera bodies. If you don't, you are definitely wanting to run out and get one. You don't want to be stuck where something malfunctions during a shoot. Can you imagine being in a wedding and something happens to your camera and you have no other way to photograph the session or the wedding? I've only had a camera malfunction during one shoot. Was a not a wedding, thank goodness. It was a family session. We were at a location and it's almost like the shutter froze is what happened to me. I was actually able to fix it. Like, I was able to take it and get it fixed. And then I had that become a backup camera. And then I had bought a new camera. So I kind of had like two newer cameras, and then I used that as a backup camera for a very long time. Definitely you want to have two camera bodies, and you want them with you at all times. I always carry two camera bodies and whatever. If I'm using my backpack, if I'm using my rolly case, always two camera bodies. So then you also want to kind of like think about what, the camera body, you need a lens. So you don't need all the lenses. You need a versatile like lens. A good zoom lens can cover a lot of ground. And then if you would like, you could add on like an 85 millimeter, 35 millimeter, if you like prime lenses, or if you were thinking of kind of getting into prime lenses. Now, I do want to tell you something. I love an 85 for headshots and also seniors. I love the 35 for families, sometimes for seniors as well, because it's just, I can be, get more of the environment around, where the 85 is going to be really more having the subject in focus and having the background compressed. 50 millimeter will be your friend as well, especially if you are just starting out and you're just not sure what to get. And it's kind of that lens that's right in the middle. It's right in the middle of that 35 and 85. And that 50, it actually shows what our eyes see. So it's not going to do any contorting of anything. Now, a lot of us don't see that when we're looking at those lenses. It's just a little fun fact for you. I love having the 24 to 70 as a zoom lens. It's not huge so that I don't feel like I need to like have muscles to use it. And again, it's very easy to take along during on location shoots. So that is one that I would definitely recommend. Now, I do know people who love, like, say, a 70 to 200. They just love the look. So it's really your preference. Between those and that solid zoom, you can shoot headshots, families, seniors, branding, pretty much anything with a couple of primes and a zoom. Now, unless you're a sport or like a wildlife photographer, you're going to want obviously something a little bit different. But if not, this is a setup that will work great for you. Now, let's go into lighting. And let's keep it a little realistic. If you are not ready for like a full lighting setup, that is okay. But I do recommend having a speedlight in your bag. Now, a speedlight is something that you can have right on top of your camera in that hot shoe, or you can get a trigger to put on the camera, and then you could have that off-camera flash right there with that speedlight. Just having the option just to have that little fill light can save a session. Indoor shoots, low light, unexpected situations. You don't have to master complicated lighting right away. But having something you can rely on is huge for the unglamorous, but critical part. Extra batteries, extra cards, always. Not, I think I have one somewhere. Not, it'll probably be fine. Always. Because running out of a battery or storage is not a creative problem. It's a systems problem. And those are the easy ones to fix. So just always have in your bag. Just think of the backups. Like, you want your main things. I got my camera, I got my lens. Then look, do I have that backup camera? Do I have extra batteries? Do I have extra cards? Just think of those little things. Even if you have maybe you're using a trigger for that speed light, does that take like AA batteries? Do you have double A's in that bag? So when I think about upgrading to 2026, this is the order I look at things. Systems first, reliability second, gear that supports the work, not distracts from it. You don't need more stuff. You need fewer points of failure. That was a lot in a very short amount of time. And I wanted this to be like one of those episodes that you can just really just listen to it quickly. It's not drawn out. But if you do have questions about any gear, or maybe I didn't talk about a lot of lighting, if you are thinking about, you want to say upgrade lighting, let me know. DM me, email me, put it on one of the comments on whatever platform you're listening to. I will definitely love, I would help you comment with that. And then if it needs to be, another episode in the future for season 3, or maybe even a bonus feature or bonus episode for season 2, I would love to do that. And if this episode helped you slow down and think more clearly about what actually matters, please share it with a photographer friend who is feeling overwhelmed by all the noise. And if you want links, discounts, check the show notes. And as always, friends, I will see you next time right here on The One Behind the Lens.
Shut up.